I'm a musician. I'm not. I sort of was wondering what I was doing here when I got here early on, because I'm not. Did I just say I'm a musician? So, i.e., I'm poor and not very tech savvy. So, what that means is all you graphic designers and tech savvy people should talk to me afterwards, because I always need posters and help figuring out what the heck I'm doing on my website. But today I'm talking about my favorite albums. That was the topic I came up with. Mike said I could do anything, but that got me thinking about what is the concept of an album, especially in a time when any piece of recorded music can be downloaded at the click of a mouse. And why is that concept so important? I think it's actually it becomes all the more important because now through this recording technology we've developed this idea, the album, which is basically just a grouping of songs that all make sense together. And as vinyl and CDs go the way of the dinosaur, we still have this concept of songs grouped together in a song cycle that mean something to us. We're familiar with the concept record, Sgt. Pepper's, the Flaming Lips Soft Bulletin. You know, it started all the way back with Frank Sinatra, Songs for the Lonely. This idea that a group of songs recorded together is richer in a collection rather than just standing alone. So I believe that there's going to be further sort of applications for this stuff that's going to happen at the end of my presentation. But right now, what I'm going to talk about is my actual favorite records, starting with Skaggs and Rice, which is the perfect bluegrass record. You should go out and buy this right now if you haven't heard it. It's 10 songs played by two guys at the peak of their prime, playing their asses off. My second record is Elliott Smith XO. This is a Baroque pop piece. Tells you more about loneliness, depression, and the human condition than Dr. Phil will ever know. The next record is Townes Van Zandt, Rearview Mirror. He is the songwriter that Steve Earle says he's the greatest songwriter ever, and I'll stand on Bob Dylan's coffee table in my cowboy boots to tell him that. This album shows you why. This record, Grievous Angel by Graham Parsons, is one of those grower records. You know them, the first time you listen to them when you're a teenager, you don't quite get it, but you think like, there's something that's really gonna speak to me here, and that's a record I keep going back to. Songs for a Blue Guitar by the Red House Painters. It's one of those records that every time I hear it, I feel more like myself, and I think that's a lot to say for a piece of art. I think that's one great thing that can happen. The Joshua Tree U2, this is one I checked out from the library many times when I was a kid on LP. What a great thing. Before U2 became a multinational company, they produced like amazing music, and that record was one of them. Big Star, Sister Lovers, this is one of those great rock cult like music nerd records, but there's a reason for it, and that's I think it's one of the most profound sort of statements about life. Okay, Sam Cooke Live. This, if you're ever like wondering, you know, like, is there happiness? Is there joy? Can I make out with this girl? Put this record on, and all of those things will come true. Mountain Music of Kentucky. This is a great field recording record, culled in 1959, that has just some of the most honest and human collections of tunes ever. It really speaks to me. Slow Train Coming, Bob Dylan. It's hard to pick just one Bob Dylan record, but this is one that means a lot to me personally. It's sort of idiosyncratic, it's religious, it's outrageous, but it's very much a personal statement made by a human being. And I think that's sort of what came out of this technology culminating in the idea of album being created. That suddenly songs, and especially popular songs, didn't have to just be novelties. They weren't one-offs. They could be pulled together as sort of a work of art. So it sort of got me thinking, like, where does it go from here? What happens next to the album? It can go a lot of different ways. Obviously with technology, we have the idea of, you know, one long track. There are many albums that are now released where it's just one long track. You can't skip through the songs. You can think about annotated albums with the extra tracks. They become like interactive. You can remix them. There are all kinds of these things being released now. I happen to think that that's sort of like getting away from. This is a little distracting. I think one application of the album that becomes more interesting to me is the idea of the album as something that can be played live, which bands like, Pink Floyd, a lot of prog rock bands have done that for a long time, but now even someone like Lucinda Williams had 8 sold-out shows up at the Fillmore playing all of her records straight through. And you also think about commerce. And what may happen in commerce with the record. The idea of an album being distributed for free or for a price that you decide of. And I think these possibilities of commerce being more flexible, of albums becoming more about a conversation and something that's truly art. So with that, I feel like maybe I do belong here because I sort of I'm good at letting the bits go and sort of the stuff Lee Boot was talking about, the metaphors, human beings. That's good, and musicians are always into discovering the 10th hole and how that works. So, thanks a lot.